Alright, so basically I'm going to give this one quick because I just got a fresh word from God. It's a very awesome word, and I really feel like I want to get this recorded real quick so that I can, maybe put it to pen later. But basically what the Lord gave me was, it's so funny, I was praying and I just felt like the Lord was talking to me about the message of grace and how this word right now, this message of grace, is not being received by everybody. And so basically the way he kind of told it to me is that story in Luke, I believe it's Luke 14, where this guy makes a feast, okay, and he invites all these people, all right, and they were making excuses about not being able to come for one reason or another. And so he bids his servants to go out to the streets and lanes and bring people in who were, sick and lame and whatever. And those people then filled up his house, but it wasn't all the way full. So then he sends his servants out again to the highways and the hedges, is what the word calls it. And God was just giving me this kind of download about this, is that like the people who were invited, like if you think about a map or a city, the people who were invited were this guy's close people, friends, families, things like that. Okay, they were in the city, in the center of the city, maybe in the center of his life. Okay, well, when they were invited and they didn't come because they made all these excuses for things they had to do that they'd rather be doing, he said go to the streets and lanes. And that's kind of like the next layer out in the city, is the streets and lanes. That's like close to the center of the city. But after he filled up his house with as many as would come for that, they said, hey, there's still room. And so he said, go to the highways and hedges. Okay, now that's further out from the city. That's, and so basically what I felt like the Lord was giving me is that the Jews were the people invited. Okay, they were invited. They were God's chosen people. They were the people who the old covenant was established with, all the patriarchs and all the people in the old covenant that's the Christian foundation, is the Israeli foundation. And so those were the people who were invited, okay? And then the people who were from the streets and lanes, those are the Gentiles, okay? The people who were strangers from the commonwealth of Israel and the law, and they didn't have this close relationship, but God brought them in with the new covenant in Jesus Christ, right? So those were the people who were in the streets and lanes, and they were invited to the feast, to the supper in this story. Those are the people from that group. Well, the highways and hedges are the outside people, and it's a much wider net, okay? When you're thinking about highways and hedges, it says compel them to come. It's talking about like really give them the story. Tell them of the love of God. Tell them the grace that, make it available, like really cast a wider net, okay? To the highways and the hedges, and compel everybody who will come to come. And man, this is the message of grace. This is the message of grace. So I'm thinking to myself, this message that God has given for the end time message, the harvest message, this now message, this message of grace that's sweeping kind of Christianity a little bit. You've got a lot of people coming into this message, the Joseph Prince and Steve McVeigh, and now even Joel Osteen is kind of on the grace message, and it's really not a new thing. It's the old message of the Apostle Paul and of Jesus Christ. It's the gospel. It's the real message. Problem is that most people learned Christianity, learned legalism and works through traditions, and just like that happened with the Jews, man, I mean, it's the same deal. So God is bringing, I'm sorry, my arm's getting tired on this side. So God's bringing the message of grace back as a brand new kind of word, even though it's not new. It's new to us, basically, because I know in my own life I grew up in kind of legalism and stuff like that, and so this has just been an amazing God, it's been so amazing. It's just been like getting saved all over again, really. And it's just so fresh and so awesome. And so I was praying about it, and God just dropped this on me, and I was just like, whoa, because I wasn't even familiar, really all that familiar with the story. I didn't even know where it was. I had to Google it to find out where the story was. I'd heard it before, but it wasn't in the forefront of my mind. That's why I kind of just absolutely know that it was God's Spirit that just dropped it on me, and I was like, wow. And so all the little details in there about it, I felt like were God confirming this. And so, just be careful, people. If you're, I'm going to give you this little word of warning, okay? Because this is so important. If you are a person who grew up and you have a strong history in church, you're an established church person, you're going to see in the future the effects of this wider net being cast, okay? To where God is calling people from the highways and the hedges too, okay? And it's going to maybe offend some people who are established church people, and they, you know what I'm saying? You're not. It's the same thing that happened with the Pharisees and Sadducees and all those people back in the day. They didn't like Jesus coming in with the message of grace and love, and they crucified him, okay? And I'm just going to tell you, this message, I believe is going to separate people. The gospel is a two-edged sword. The Word of God is. And I think it's going to really be the divider of, what's happening right now, what's coming down this way. So anyway, I just wanted to put this to video and kind of let y'all know what God gave me, because it was cool. All right, thanks. See ya.